The strategy you're about to hear from me, I guarantee you, will be wildly different than anyone else regarding the NBA playoffs. But the good news is that by the end of this video, you'll have a couple guys to focus in on, and more importantly, you'll have a sharper investing mindset to take with you far after the playoffs end. Welcome back. Now let's get to work. Now here's the thing. Anyone can throw out a couple names of guys for you to invest in, but to be honest, that's not gonna make you a better investor. What makes you a good investor is understanding the thought process, being able to weigh all the pros and cons and all the interesting questions that could factor in why a player's value can go up or down. So here are the questions that I would want to ask myself going in. Now, first things first, the playoffs aren't something new. We figured that NBA playoffs would be back at some point, and before this whole lockdown, we knew the seeds. We knew number 1 through number 8. So the first question I asked myself is, with this new 22 team format, what teams are now in the picture that weren't before? Because remember, if I'm investing for the playoffs, I could be investing in Anthony Davis and LeBron James and Giannis and Kawhi since February and since March, and that's why a lot of their prices have gone through the roof. So if you look at one of these other bubble teams and you say, all right, we've had a 3-month gap. What banged up team is now rested? What veteran team can be mentally sharp after this big of a break? Who can benefit the most from this, and who is being hurt the most from this long break? And I think younger teams that had the energy, that had momentum, those are the teams that probably did not benefit from this quarantine, while the older banged up teams that are mentally strong will be able to rally and make that 8th seed or 7th seed, even though they were out of the playoff picture before. So if you know the NBA and you have your eye on a couple teams that were out of the playoff picture before, but feel like, hey, you know what? They were well rested and they could make a run at it, I would look there, because also keep in mind, a lot of investors wouldn't have even invested in those cards, assuming that those players would have been out of the playoffs based on what was going on the last couple months. And I want to give a quick shout out to a couple new subscribers that have joined us on this journey. They are Mass Collector, Steven Washington, TD Sports Cards, Mike C, and the Fantasy Football Card Quest. Guys, thanks so much for your engagement and for joining me on this journey. Now let's dive into this video. The second question I would ask myself is, of the superstars that I want to invest in, assuming that you want to invest in LeBron and Anthony Davis and Kawhi and some of the others, what cards have not skyrocketed? Because we've seen all the major cards go way up in price in the last couple months, with people anticipating the playoffs and obviously more investors getting into the game. But there could be LeBron's first Laker card or Kawhi's first a Clipper card that is still underrated. And I was seeing Kawhi's select Clippers rookie card, first one in the Clipper uniform, for a couple dollars. But if Kawhi wins a championship with the Clippers, I could see that card skyrocketing. Same thing with LeBron, where even though he's new to the Lakers, if he wins a championship or at least gets to the finals with the Lakers, I could see that Laker select rookie or whatever first year Laker card really going up, while all the others have already gone up, and that one still may have the most potential. The third question I'd ask myself is, what second tier players can ride the coattails of these superstars to a championship? And the way I'd look at it is this: what are the top 4 seeds? Because more than likely, if Vegas has the Clippers, the Lakers, the Celtics, and the Bucks as their top seeds, and they have a lot of money at stake, I would just go there and say, all right, those are the guys that are more than likely going to be in the finals. Of course, anything can happen, injuries and whatnot, but more than likely, that's who's going to be in the finals. Who are the second best and third best players? And of course, Anthony Davis, he's there. He was the obvious choice, but his prices have skyrocketed already. Then you have guys like Kyle Kuzma being mentioned everywhere, and I like the thought process there. Even Dwight Howard. I have several Dwight Howard cards where I know that he's a future Hall of Famer, maybe not the most likable guy, not the best career considering or compared to his early start in Orlando, but second best player, third best player on all those teams. And if the prices are still really high, then maybe it's worth just saying, all right, screw it, I'll go to the third best player or someone off the bench, because that's the only opportunity for maximum upside, while the others have already been jacked up in price. A couple other guys that could be good investments are Jason Tatum of the Celtics, if they make a run, because they are the 4th highest to win the championship according to the Vegas odds. Dante DiVincenzo of the Bucks, whose Prism rookies are dirt cheap, like literally $3 or $4 a piece. The last guy I've heard a lot about is Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors, who's been overlooked. So definitely check into his card prices if you know about the Raptors and believe in their chances of making a long playoff push. But to be honest, none of these are my strategy, and the reason is because we knew about the NBA playoffs months and months ago. And right now, I feel like a lot of new investors are getting in and they're focusing in on the playoffs. But for me, that's what I've been thinking about for the last few months, because there's NBA playoffs and there's the Last Dance, and that's the only bit of action we've had. So besides NFL draft and a little something here or there, people have been talking about the playoffs for so long that I've seen the prices go through the roof. And that's why I bought an Anthony Davis rookie card for $5.50 that recently sold for over $30. To me, the cat's out of the bag already. The playoffs have already been discussed, and so I'm looking forward to the next thing. However, you have injuries, you have upsets, you have a lot of different factors going on, and so there's always going to be opportunity, but I would be a bit more conservative and make sure that I'm very knowledgeable about this and not just listening to random advice given out on any platform. My strategy is going to be completely different than others, because instead of investing for the NBA playoffs, I'm going to be tracking everything meticulously so I can apply it to the NHL playoffs, to the NFL playoffs, and then to next year's NBA season. So this is my plan. 2 weeks before the NBA playoffs begin, I'm going to look at about 8 to 10 players. I'm going to be tracking what their prices are there. And as the playoffs go on, I want to see at what point do their prices peak, when do they taper off, when do they plateau and hit a bottom, because I want to know what it takes in the future for a player's price to go up or down, and when that is. Is it when a team is down 2 games in a series that people are trying to liquidate because they feel like it's at a loss? Are players' prices peaking before the finals, or is it during the finals, or is it when they win the championship? All of these things are important because I want to know human behavior. Knowing a sport is great, but at the end of the day, this is a study of human behavior, because it's us that are buying and selling the cards. It's not the players themselves. So while everyone is enamored with the NBA playoffs, I'm gonna have my eyes set on a lot of players that have been eliminated in the NBA, Hall of Famers, guys in other sports like baseball, especially if baseball's canceled. I wanna see how low some of their prices get during the peak of NBA playoffs, NFL, all these kinds of things. That intrigues me a lot more, because I feel like that could be the best buying opportunity for other sports when all eyes are on the NBA playoffs and the prices there are going through the roof. Now, after the playoffs conclude and we have a champion, I will be putting together my detailed analysis of the players in the league, players in other sports, and players in that are Hall of Famers or potential Hall of Famers, to see at what point their prices hit the bottom and when's a good time to buy. And that is something that I plan on sharing with you guys as well. All right, guys, what do you think of my strategy? It's weird, I know, but I'm looking to buy low and sell high, not buy high and sell higher. Hope to see you in the next video, and remember to pound that like if you got some value from this.